Hi everybody, and welcome to the face reading of the people in the news. Today I will be talking about Howard Stern, an American radio and television personality, producer, actor, an author, and a photographer. No, he hasn't been on the news lately, but over the last 25 years, here and then, I listened to his radio talks, marveling actually how someone could be so arrogant and vulgar and yet so successful. Here he was those days when I first heard him on the radio. He was indeed vulgar and abusive to his guests and narcissistic and totally intolerant to another person's view. Nevertheless, I knew his ratings were going through the roof and he was signing huge contracts with the radio and television stations. And later when I saw his face for the first time on television, I thought, what an unusual and strange face, no wonder. So when someone recently suggested that I read his face, I thought it was a good idea. And here he is today, ladies and gentlemen, Howard Stern. First we'll talk about his personality, that is his face. He did have some plastic surgeries, but from a morphological standpoint, I did not notice any significant changes. It looks like Howard is a Uranus. Here is a diagram and other people of the same personality. And look, he even looks a little bit like Andrew Jackson. So what do we know about Uranus? First, Uranus is a face of a Saturn, just very elongated. The Uranus possesses all characteristics of a Saturn, plus a few qualities which are unique only to them. So as a Saturn, Howard is a very time-conscious. He likes timelines and likes time to be accounted for. He is very reliable and must have order to be comfortable. He has more perseverance in what he does than any other personality. He is organized and meticulous and always knows what he has done so far and what is still to accomplish. The Saturn are most sexual, I should say, hypersexual of all personalities. They often confuse sex with love, though most of the time they're looking for intimacy. They're concerned about sex, wanting to talk about sex. If you heard Howard Stern's shows, you know what I'm talking about. The Saturn are deep thinkers with philosophical inclination. But wait, from what I remember, Howard Stern was not a guy who would pause to think, let someone speak or take time. Well, we'll see later, maybe in his profile, his temperament will clarify for this discrepancy. As a Saturn, Howard Stern is a positive pessimist, sees the downside of everything, but that is because he needs obstacles to be overcome. Overcoming challenges is what gives his life meaning. The Saturn tend to be pessimistic and cynical. That's how I see Howard Stern from what I know of him. But that is only a part of Howard's personality. Remember, he is really a Uranus. So as a Uranus, he's far advanced in his thinking. In fact, often the Uranus are visionaries ahead of their time. While Saturn's behavior is always measured and predictable, a Uranus may be quite eccentric. Excuse me. That is very true of Howard. And now let's look at Howard's temperament, his energy type, embodied in his profile, of course. These are characteristics he arrived into this world with. It looks like Howard Stern is a sanguine. The tilted forehead, the corner of the jaw that goes down almost at 90 degrees, and the chin that protrudes forward. Anything else you can see? Here, on this picture, it's quite visible. Yes, he also has quite a clear nervous cast. You see green lines. It's not a very common combination, nervous / sanguine. But he is not a common guy, that Howard Stern. So what do we know? What do we see here? As a sanguine, Howard Stern is a king. Wait, didn't he actually call himself the king of radio at one time? I think he did. So he is a conqueror, a leader, a person who has courage and generosity of the king, as well as an impulse to wipe you out of the face of the earth if you cross him. He gets easily bored, has a short attention span, a short fuse. He is spontaneous, loves to have fun, and does not like predictability. Remember, these all are his innate traits, which he skillfully altered with his Uranus personality of order, planning, and commitment to time, which is so opposite to and who he really is. And of course, the more the personality is conflicting with the temperament, the more the person has conflicts within oneself. In addition, we have here a nervous cast, which makes Howard super quick-minded and creative, needy of people's attention, approval, and adoration. The nervous are not very spontaneous. They need predictability. They're also too concerned with themselves and their own needs to be generous to others, like the sanguine do. So we have opposites not only between Howard's personality and temperament, but also within the two temperaments that govern him from the get-go. Howard's elongated nostrils reveal great intelligence, but also the wings of the nostrils, as you can see, have triangulation, meaning that he is competitive and or jealous. And look at this. In the picture on the left, you see the beak-like nose, meaning emotionality and sensitivity. But in the picture on the right, you see that Howard's blue eyes telling us something else, that he is detached. You may say, how can it be? I will tell you how. Feeling and emotion are not the same thing. The word emotion, in fact, comes from Latin emovere, meaning to move out of. One may share one's emotion, express anger or displeasure, but then walks away without feeling anything. It's over. He, she are finished. They express themselves, and now they're moving on. And someone else is left experiencing what they just dumped on them. That's what I believe happens in Howard's case. Yes, he knows how to express his emotions, but once he does, he is detached from how and what he did and how it impacted other people. So, what do we know about Howard Stern from his morphology? If you were to watch this video again and to make notes, you would see that Howard Stern is a mixture of not complementary but opposite qualities, which create a lot of inner struggle. It seems to me that he actually did resolve this struggle from younger age, probably, by turning away from looking at and working on himself, his own inner conflicts and insecurities, and focusing on the inadequacies and the problems of the world outside of himself. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh on this guy. Maybe. Well, probably not as harsh as he has been with his guests, from what I remember. And all I do is really reading what I see on his appearance, and that tells me what I am sharing with you. And that is all for Howard Stern. If you want to know about faces, reading faces more, you can get my book, Face Reading Secrets for Successful Relationships. It is available on Amazon.com. Thank you for being with me today. Peace to all who want to be in peace.